All right, Ploughshare's Ingested Burial Ground. It's a well, they're calling it an LP. It's more of a mini LP, and it features a complete paradigm shift for the band, who were previously known as more of a dissonant black and death metal band out of Australia. And I don't know that they stood out so much early on with their early releases beyond the infusion of some modern industrial and noise power electronics are in the peripheral. There was always something a little bit extra that they threw in there, which was arguably sort of in fashion at the time. A lot of people were doing a lot of that with bands like The Body and whatnot being very popular. So as it turns out, they had further to go with it, and you saw some of this on their previous EP, Tellurian Insurgency, where they put out two very straightforward dissonant black death metal songs that were especially good, and that seemed to be the major statement they were making. But there were two other tracks in there that were completely different, that were remixes, and it turns out on this EP, the remixes turned out to be where they were going with it. So this is not only a bunch of new songs and a new style that is somewhere between, like, so post-industrial as a subgenre is a huge blanket altogether. Electronic music is just kind of known for its subdivisions. So let's call it post-industrial, almost not death industrial, but something closer to like uh, a death metal band doing what Aranzi Pazuzu do a little bit, but there's a lot more to it. I don't really know how to describe it because it is still extreme metal at heart, but it is aggressive, sort of Black Death industrial, postmodern, whatever you want to call it. It's there. It's driven by sort of space rocking bass lines that dominate most of the songs. I've referenced Damian Dubrovnik for some of the harsher parts, the sort of surrealness of it, and Renzi Pazuzu because of the prominent use of bass lines, which is sort of similar in a lot of ways for the atmosphere it creates. A lot of this goes out of the window in the second half of the album because it is all remixes from people you will know from extreme metal and pyroelectronic spaces and similar experimental music avenues. Um, so, how do I explain exactly what this is? I don't know. It's it's memorable. It's pretty cool. I think the production is very fine. The transition from dissonant whatever metal to this is uh, sensical in its atmospheric conduit. Like there's uh, I don't know. It's going to be a sort of thing where you might accidentally fall into it rather than intentionally look for it. But having some experience with both the post-industrial modern side of heavier industrial music and the Black Death metal that they're coming from, this made sense. And some of the remixes are probably a little bit more interesting than the songs themselves if you're looking for like far gone abstraction, but the EP works itself standalone, and I probably would have preferred it standalone, and the EP just been released later separately. But as is, I think they kind of pulled it off. It was a lot of fun to listen to. Most of it's pretty memorable. Some of it's probably a little bit too out there if you're coming from no history with this type of music, whatever it is. But overall, it's sort of a thing that stood out more than a lot of other things in December. So it's worth checking out. You can, I similarly stumble through the reviews, so you can also read through that and see if that's your thing, whatever it is.